Hello, my name is Christopher Houston, and today I want to talk to you about college. Specifically, I want to talk to you about 5 things you can do to prepare for college. And actually, I'm talking about to prepare your teenager for college. Now, my channel is about leadership and leadership principles. And in this talk, we'll kind of talk about some leadership in the ways that we've led our daughter to college. So the first thing you need to think about when talking to your teenager about college is GPA. Because here's the thing, there's plenty of academic scholarships out there for students that get anywhere from a 3.5, 3.7 all the way up to 4.0. Now I know you're thinking, man, that's a high GPA. Well, you're right, it is a high GPA. But me and in our family, the goal for my daughter is to get an academic scholarship, and that's what we've been working toward this entire time. So her GPA right now is a 4.0, and that hopefully that's going to qualify her for a lot of academic scholarships. And this morning we were on with an academic counselor, and here's the thing, my daughter, she's already put together a list of the different schools that she wants to attend. Those schools are marketing schools, or they're schools that have a marketing degree, or at least a business degree with a marketing specialty. So she's already put her list of schools down, and what we did was she made an appointment with one of the academic counselors, and we got a chance to talk to that person this morning. And these are the 5 things that we talked about. So we asked about the GPA, and he said, well, the GPA, you have to be at least a 3.9 to get a scholarship. The scholarships ranged anywhere from $18,000 a year to $25,000 a year. Now, that sounds like a lot, but at the end, I'll kind of talk about finances, which will be the bonus. That'll be number 6, but it'll be a bonus when I start talking about finances. So number 1, what type of academic scholarships do they have? Because here's the thing. I told my daughter, listen, if you get C's and D's, maybe college may not be for you. Just like the military is not for everybody, I don't believe college is for everybody. If you study and you put the work in and you get good grades during high school, then yes, I believe college is for you. The second thing we talked about was what would stand out on your application. Now, in today's world of applications and different things for colleges, they say you need to market yourself. So you need to do some type of projects while you're in high school. My daughter is going to the 11th grade. She goes to a private school here in Honolulu, Damien High School. They already do a lot of charity work. They do. She goes and she does charity work for the church, and hopefully, I think she talked earlier about maybe starting some type of YouTube channel to actually walk people through what she's going through to get into college. So she's going to the 11th. So the goal is to have a YouTube channel that has videos talking about what she had to go through to get into whatever college she's going to get into. And she'll chronicle that for these next 2 years. I thought that was a great idea. So that's what they mean by market yourself and having things to put on your college application that will help you stand out. So the third thing, and these are for the individuals that are prior military or in the military. My wife, she got on and she said, hey, you have a military discount? Now I know that sounds funny. My wife, she asked that question all the time, no matter where we go, no matter what we're purchasing, she'll always ask that. And in the beginning, I would say, man, why do you have to ask that all the time? But after a while, it seemed that I would say about 60% of the time when she asked that question, there's some type of military discount. So if you are military, prior military, retired military, go ahead and ask that question. Is there some type of military discount? Or even better, is there something that the VA, the Veterans Administration, would offer to a retired person or a veteran of the military? Because there's a lot of programs out there that are not advertised. And the only way for you to figure those programs out is to go online, talk to someone at the VA, and ask them for the programs that are available for you. a lot of times those programs are geared towards the state where you came in. For instance, for me, I came into the military in Alabama, and they have a program to where your kids could go to school for free. However, you have to live in Birmingham, or you have to, while they're in high school, you have to be living in the state of Alabama for them to take advantage of that. Unfortunately, we don't live in Alabama, and I would probably rather live here in Hawaii right now than there. But it's a good program for those individuals who retire from the military or are in the military, go to Alabama, have their kids go to high school there, and then because that is it's basically it pays for all of your tuition and all of your books, and then you have to figure out a way for living arrangements, which is pretty cool, I thought. But that's Alabama, whatever state you're from, get on with the VA and ask them, hey, what kind of programs do you have for individuals that went into the military from that particular state? So military discount, don't forget to ask for that. Next is, how much does school cost per year? So the fourth thing is, how much does school cost per year? Now, we were on with the counselor this morning, and we kind of went through our questions, and we got to the question about how much does it cost to go to this school per year? And I'm not going to mention the school, but I guess it was kind of a prestigious school on the West Coast, or they thought they were prestigious, because he said yearly it was about $72,000 a year. And I said, okay, well that's great. He said, hey, but you could do student loans, or and he gave us some options, but my thought was 72,000. That seemed to be quite a lot, right? Because even with that $25,000 scholarship, let's say if my daughter were to get that $25,000 scholarship, about $70,000 a year, you're talking about $280,000 for the full 4 years. Even if she got the top scholarship, which was $25,000, that's $100,000 off of that. So you're still talking about $180,000 for that education. And don't get me wrong, I am big on education. However, I'm also big on return on investment. And we'll get into that on number 5. So number 4 is, figure out how much does that school cost per year. And that's everything. And that $70,000 for that school, that was for room and board. So that was books, tuition, and room and board. And like I said before, if the scholarship was $70,000, then hey, maybe we would look at it. But that seemed to be a lot. And I told my daughter that we will definitely help her go to college, but we're not paying for any party. We're not paying the party, right? So we're not going to pay the whole thing, and she go to school and find out what partying is, and now we just stuck with paying for a party. So that cost is key. And when we were on the phone, that's the 4th thing you want to make sure that you think about when you're talking to your teenager about college is cost. Now, the last thing that we talked about, and actually this was after we got off the call with the counselor, and that thing was return on investment. So I told my daughter, I said, listen, there's nothing wrong with going to a college like that, and you probably will get a great education. She wants to be in marketing, and I'm big on research. So a while back, what we did was, when we said, you know how you ask your kid, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? Well, I asked my daughter that. I said, hey, what do you want to do in college? And this was all the way back in the 8th, 9th grade. And right then, she kind of didn't know. And then once she got in the 9th grade, going to the 10th grade, she said, hey, Dad, I want to do marketing. I said, okay, that's fine. So what we did was we went online to kind of check and see what salaries were for marketing careers. And I understand that there's going to be a range, but a lot of times you will be able to find out what is the minimum, or what do normal people start off out in the marketing field, especially if they have a degree. So we did some research, and we went to the website, the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, and that has the outcome of all the jobs over the next, I would say 10 years, I think they go out. They'll say, and it'll let you know if that career is growing or if that career is declining. So the marketing career is growing, and the salaries range anywhere from $55,000, $60,000 a year, all the way up to executives or directors or executives that were, in the $100,000 a year, which is fine. So after we found out what the cost of college was, I said, okay, Kiana, just think about this. Let's say you pay that let's say you get a $25,000 scholarship and you have to find a way to pay that $180,000 a year. And I asked her, I said, best case scenario, what do you think your starting salary would be for if you got the job? It doesn't matter what city, but your starting salary. So she says, and she did a little research. She said about $60,000. I said, that's about right. That's a good starting salary. Someone graduates college and they get a job making $60,000 a year. I said, now let's do the math, right? Because remember, we're talking about return on investment. I said, so go to this website called bankrate.com. I always go there when I want to look for a income or some type of monetary calculator. And of course, they had a student loan calculator. So I said, put the $180,000 in there at about 6%. And I said, do about 20 years because they normally give you 20 years to pay these loans back. And what came up? About $1,300. I said, okay, so now let's take that $60,000 a year. And I said, let's see how much money you would have. And we looked and I said, okay, so first things first, let's go ahead and take 25% off of that 60,000. And I said, so 25% of 60,000 is about $15,000. So go ahead and subtract that 15,000. So she subtracted that. But can you guess what that $15,000 was? Well, it was taxes. We always seem to forget about taxes until we have to pay them, right? And I said, welcome to being in America. Welcome to working in America. Yes, you make $60,000 a year. I'll just say you're single, you have no kids, right around 25%. Just to make the math easy, 25%. So she took the 25% out. So now she's down to $45,000. And then I said, now divide that by 12. And I think it was around $3,700 a month. So I said, now you have $3,700 a month to spend. Not bad, not terrible. You're 22 years old, at the time. So you say she graduates at 22. You have about $3,700 per month. And I said, oh, wait, you got to subtract that $1,300 for those student loans. So we subtract the $1,300. And $1,300 from 37, that's what, about $2,400, $2,500, right? So I said, now you have $2,400 a month. Now let's take out your rent. Now here's the thing, it doesn't matter where you live, right? There's going to be some places you can afford, there's going to be some places you can't afford. So I said on average, let's say if you're lucky enough, because she wants to live in a city somewhere, let's say if you're lucky enough to get your own place and you can pay and you get it for $1,200. I mean, here in Hawaii, that would be kind of difficult. That's why they have a lot of people who, they rent rooms and they have roommates. But for argument's sake, I said, let's take out $1,200, right, for your rent. So now, we were at $2,400. Now we're down to $1,200 left over. And I said, don't forget about your savings. And we started taking all the money out, and she's like, man, I could have really used that $1,300. I said, exactly. I said, that's why you have to be careful when you start talking about you want to take out a student loan. You got to look for that return on investment. So that's what we talked about this morning. We talked about school and we talked about education. And number one, education is number one on my list for her, to make sure she gets a good education in a field that's growing. And I can't stress that enough. You want to get a job in a field that's growing, not one that's declining. And as I said before, you can go to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics and find that. She had a better understanding of school. She had a better understanding of finances. And she had a better understanding of return on investment just from that one conversation. What have we gone over? We went over the things that you talk to a teenager about when we're talking about college. The first thing was scholarships. What type of scholarships do they offer? The second thing was what stands out on an application. The third thing was, hey, ask them if they have a military discount or any type of discount. Maybe if you work somewhere, I think if you work at Starbucks, I think they pay for a little bit of college, but ask for any type of discount you can get for college. Next was, how much does the school cost per year? And that's all in. That's books, tuition, and room and board. Ask that question. Lastly, return on investment. Make sure the field that you're going into is a field that's growing, and it's a field that pays a pretty decent salary. And that's it. Those are the 5 things that you can do to prepare your teenager for college, or just those are 5 of them. My name is Christopher Houston. Please subscribe to this website and hit the like button and hit the notification bell. That way when I put a video out, you guys get notified. Myself and my daughter will be creating these videos. Along with my normal leadership videos, we'll be creating these videos just to make sure that we keep track of everything that's going on, and we want to let you guys know. So my name is Christopher Houston. Thank you very much. Good night and God bless.